Hey, shalom, shalom. This is Rav Yoshi. I wanted to come at you today and talk about Psalm 5. I'm just going to go through this. I don't want to read it all off to you. I want to concentrate on some very important things. Verses 1, 2, 3 are very powerful verses because it says that Hashem is our King and our El. It says, "In the morning thou wilt hear my voice, O Yah Adonai. In the morning I will order my prayer to thee and eagerly watch." That's a very important point because people say to me, "Rav Yoshi, why do you pray 3 times a day?" Well, the Torah gives us the indication to pray 3 times a day, and even here in the Psalms, David sets an order, Siddur, order. He says, in the morning I will order my prayer to you. I will set it in order. I will set it straight. He says, and then I will eagerly watch. Okay? He goes on in verse 4 to say that he's not of El that takes delight in wickedness. Wickedness. Alright? Nor evil dwells in thee. Basically in the next, 7 or the next 4 verses, he talks about what Hashem abhors, what he doesn't like. And he says here that he doesn't like, he says, Adonai abhors the man of bloodshed and deceit. Remember that we're talking about David here. And David by this time had shed lots of blood. Okay? So obviously the man of bloodshed doesn't refer to somebody who fights in a battle. Man of bloodshed refers to somebody who enjoys killing. A man of bloodshed is somebody who just gets off on killing people. A very violent murderer. Okay? Also those who speak falsehood or the boastful, he can't stand them. Alright? But as for me, thy abundant loving kindness, I will enter thy house. At thy holy temple I will bow in reverence for thee. We're not talking about a Muslim bow that's just dirty. Okay, we're talking about a proper Jewish bow, which, they say don't do because the pagans bow, so therefore we won't bow. It's garbage. Alright? Then he goes on in verse 8, he talks about, lead me in thy righteousness because of my foes. And a lot of people don't realize the best way to defeat the enemy, Hasatan, the best way to defeat him is to walk righteously. Yeah, there's spiritual warfare, and it has its place. But if you want to grow to a point where the enemy doesn't beat up on you like he used to, learn to walk righteously. Okay? Make thy way straight before me. There is nothing reliable in what they say. And you have to realize, David's giving us some clues. When the enemy says something to you, it's not reliable. It's kind of like the old Star Trek episode where Spock tells the one guy, I always lie. I always tell the truth, I'm lying. Guy gets all, befuddled and computer breaks down. So the point I'm making is this: Satan is not going to come to you and tell you the truth. He may tell you a half-truth, okay? But he's not going to tell you the whole truth. So when the enemy comes at you and they're saying things, they're not reliable. He goes on to say their inward parts is destruction itself. Okay, their heart, their inward parts, their reasoning, it's all for destruction. And their throat is an open grave. They flatter with the tongue. All these are things that Hashem hates. Flattery is a sin. It's really just a falsehood. When you flatter somebody, you're doing it for false reasons. Be honest. If you want to compliment somebody, but don't flatter them. Flattering appeals to their ego for your selfish reasons. When you compliment somebody, you just say, "Hey, it's a beautiful dress," or "Hey, that's a nice hairstyle." Or if your, significant other men should ask you, "Do I look fat in this dress?" Well, you handle it the best you can. I always say, "No, dear, of course not." Hold them guilty, O Adonai, O Elohim. By their own devices let them fall. In the multitude of their transgression, thrust them out. For they are rebellious against thee. David makes a point here in Psalm 5 that is very important. Our enemies are rebellious against Hashem. Who are the ones we fight against? We fight not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against spiritual darkness, wickedness in high places. The other thing is that when we have humans that we interact with that are detractors or naysayers or people that are against us for no apparent reason other than their own ego and pride, not to get caught up with it. All we have to do is say, Hashem, let their devices be their own undoing. Let them fall to themselves. We don't need to worry about them. We don't even occupy our time with them. They are just like the vapors they claim to be. Let all those who take refuge in thee be glad. Let them ever sing for joy. And mayest thou shelter them, that those who love thy name exalt in thee. A note to my sacred namer buddies out there. By the way, I still love you. One of the things is that, to love his name is also to revere his name. And if you have an inkling of doubt in your heart, well, maybe this isn't the true way of saying it, because we don't have, we don't have the camcorder that Moses came down from the mountain with, or we don't have the little microphone device, the little tape recorder Moshe had when he was, there at the burning bush. So we don't know how to properly say the name. You can hypothesize and theorize and come up with any kind of formula you want. The most we know is that his first part of his name is Yah. And that is about all we know. The rest is subject. And therefore, if you really love his name, you won't defame his name and you won't disgrace or discredit or desecrate his name by falsely pronouncing the last half of it. We don't know it for sure. Even grammatically, you can't figure it out. We have some ideas. We have some, well, here's what it could be. And, I think that for the sake of the love of his name, we got to wait till Mashiach comes back and tells us the right way of saying it. Okay? For it is thou who dost bless the righteous man, O Yahweh Adonai. For thou dost surround him with favor and a shield. A righteous man. A righteous man. Remember we learned in the other one, the righteous, back here in Psalms 4, what it means to be righteous in the previous Psalms. A righteous man is somebody who is in a right standing with Hashem, who walks rightly before him. He gives us his Torah, his instructions, that we might rightly walk before him. His manual on how to walk in this relationship correctly. And so the righteous man or woman, but the righteous person, Hashem will place favor on him and will put a shield about him, a shield to protect him from everything. Remember Job, Satan said, remove your hedge, your shield from him, and I will touch him, and he shall surely curse you to your face. The righteous, those who do what is right before the eyes of Hashem, they have a shield about them that even Satan can't get through. That should be encouraging to you. Psalm 5 is an excellent psalm that teaches us that, again, the nature of Hashem, he abhors the violent, he abhors, the ruthlessly violent. Battle is violent. If it's a righteous battle, it's meant to be. Hashem told him to go in and slay everybody in the land. So you just don't do it with hatred in your heart and you don't enjoy it. It's not something that you sit back and go, I think today I'm going to go out and slaughter this village. Okay? That's bloodshed, and that's what Hashem abhors. He also abhors falsehood. He also abhors the arrogant. He abhors those that do wickedness. Okay? Wicked people he abhors. So, wicked also in the English translation, wicked is iniquitous or without the Torah. Okay? Anomia in the Greek, lawless. Those without the Torah. So, Psalms 5 is an excellent psalm. There's some very key important parts here about, how to protect your mind. Verses 8 through 10 tell us that, this is what the enemy does. And so if we know what the enemy does, we don't have to fall prey to it. Okay? And let those who love his name exalt in him. And, to exalt means to rejoice, to boast, to proclaim, to praise. And that's what we should be doing. If you can shout at a basketball game, if you can shout hoarse at a softball game or a baseball game or a football game, but you can't rejoice, you can't shout for Hashem, yeah, something else is your God, not Hashem. Listen, Psalm 5 is excellent. Study it, meditate on it. I'm Rav Yoshi. Shalom, shalom.